Phone 7, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Teaching Elder Jason Piland, Ohio Presbytery. I rise to speak against the substitute motion, primarily to highlight ambiguities in the language that I believe will lead to unintended consequences, even if you are in agreement with the spirit of the minority report. I want to look at the language of section 35-1 if the minority report is adopted. Just that one point to see some of this language that is ambiguous. The proposed language would read, all persons generally are competent to testify as witnesses. I want to stop there. We have the word generally here, and we would expect the next clause to describe the exception. We have a general rule, and the next phrase would go into the exception. When does the rule not apply? So let's continue in the sentence. Though the court shall give consideration to age, intelligence, belief in God, relationship to the parties involved, and other like factors. So it seems if we're following the same logic, now there are a number of things that could disqualify somebody from being a competent witness. All of these things, whether it's age, whether it's actually belief in God, it seems it could potentially disqualify someone based on the language. Relationship to the parties involved, other like factors. Then we get to the final phrase here, judging testimony. So there is judgment of testimony based on these factors. And we need to keep clear in mind, there are two judgments going on. The first is a judgment of competency. Can somebody even take the stand to testify? Are they competent to do so? Right now, those who do not believe in God are judged not competent. They may not take the stand. So that is one judgment here in judging the testimony. So is the language speaking of that, or is it speaking of the other kind of judgment? And that's judging the credibility. So when somebody is on the stand, we determine, the judges determine, is this person credible? Can we believe them? Are they telling the truth? Now they're competent to testify, but we still have to determine whether they are credible, and that is the job of the court. They determine their credibility. And so when we go to the final sentence here, we don't know if this judgment is judging the credibility or judging the competency, but then the final sentence goes back into the competency question. Either party has the right to challenge a witness whom he believes to be incompetent, and the court shall examine and decide upon his competency. So we don't have any grounds in this entire paragraph now to judge the competency unless that phrase, the age, intelligence, belief in God, relationship to the parties involved, are speaking to the competency, which is not the intent, but reading it in the context, it is possible to read this paragraph in such a way as all of these things actually could disqualify a witness from being determined to be competent to stand, to take the stand. And so, fathers and brothers, I urge you to vote this down. Regardless of your intent, whether you think those who believe in God, who do not believe in God, should be able to testify, the language here is ambiguous and it will cause further problems down the road. So I speak against the minority report.